Love makes you want to be a better man. Lust makes you want to be with a woman. Love makes you want to give. Lust makes you want to get. K. C. Rhodes. Have you ever looked at the person you love and felt nothing? You're standing in the center of the room, alone. This is the ballroom of your heart, the place where you were taught love was supposed to happen. You were given the sheet music. You were taught the steps, the grand romance, the soulmate, the one who completes you. A beautiful, elegant, and perfectly choreographed dance. But in the quiet moments, when the orchestra of distractions fades away, you hear it, don't you? A sound that doesn't belong. A scratching from beneath the floorboards. A hungry ghost in the perfect machine of love. It's the part of you that doesn't care about poetry. The part that doesn't believe in soulmates. The part that feels a raw, electric jolt for a stranger on the street and a chilling emptiness for the one lying next to you. It's the part of you that society told you to chain in the basement, to starve, to pretend doesn't exist. And yet, it grows stronger in the dark. One of history's greatest moralists felt it. A Russian count, a literary giant, who preached the gospel of pure, spiritual love to the world. But in the privacy of his own diary, he confessed a terrifying truth. He wrote of a raging monster inside him, a lust so powerful it made his holiest vows feel like whispers in a hurricane. His life became a brutal, bloody war against his own skin. At the very same time, in a quiet office in Vienna, another man was listening to the secrets of the civilized world. A doctor who wasn't interested in morality, only in the truth. And he heard that same monster roaring from behind the elegant facades of his patients. He didn't call it monster, though. He gave it a clinical, terrifyingly neutral name. The ID. He argued this wasn't a demon to be exorcised. It was the engine, the raw, geothermal core of what makes you human. And all your civilized ideas about love, just a thin crust of earth trying to contain a volcano. So, the great unspoken question hangs in the air of this empty ballroom. Is love just a beautiful lie we tell ourselves to hide a more primitive truth? Is the romance you've been chasing a phantom? A ghost story to keep you from looking at what's really moving you? Here, we don't offer comfortable lies. We don't hand out easy answers. This is Legend's legacy. And we are here to pull the monsters out of the dark and look them in the eye. Because what you refuse to face will eventually own you. The world is torn between these two titans, the saint and the scientist. One who saw lust as a poison that kills love. The other, who saw it as the very thing that gives it life, however complicated. And you are the battleground. Every choice you make, every person you desire, every promise you keep, and every one you break, you are living out their war. So which is it? Are your deepest desires a sacred part of your nature to be understood, or a treacherous enemy to be conquered? The answer to that question will define the rest of your life. It will determine if this ballroom becomes a sanctuary or a tomb. Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt this ghost? This disconnect between the love you're supposed to feel and the desires that haunt you in the dark? Your honesty might be the first step to understanding it. And if you're brave enough to continue this journey into the shadows, subscribe, because we are about to descend much, much deeper. You are now in the heart of the Russian winter, inside the mind of the man who wrote War and Peace, Count Leo Tolstoy. Look at him. He is a prophet to millions, a moral titan who renounces wealth, his art, his copyrights. He preaches a radical Christianity, a love so pure it borders on the divine, a spiritual union between man and woman, blessed by God, untainted by the filth of the flesh. His words are a fortress built against the chaos of human desire. Stone by stone, he builds it for the world to see, a monument to self-control, to discipline, to the victory of the soul over the body. But now lean closer. Look past the prophet. Look at the man. The ink on his public essays is barely dry, but he picks up a different book, a secret one, his private diary. And here, the fortress crumbles. Here, the prophet becomes a prisoner, confessing his sins to the empty page. He writes of his uncontrollable urges, his shame after being with his own wife. He describes a female body as a trap, a temptation sent by the devil. He is 80 years old, a global icon of wisdom, yet he writes in his diary, "I was walking the garden and was overcome by desire, a disgusting desire." For Tolstoy, this isn't just a human flaw. It is a spiritual disease, a cancer of the soul. Lust is the great enemy. It is the serpent in the garden of love, the poison that takes a holy sacrament and turns it into a transaction. It makes a mockery of vows, turning partners into objects. For him, every surrender to lust is a step towards damnation, a betrayal of God, a betrayal of love itself. His entire life is a desperate, agonizing battle to kill this part of himself. Now leave the Russian snow. Enter the hushed quiet of Bergast 19, Vienna. This is the laboratory of the soul, the office of Dr. Sigmund Freud. There are no prophets here, no sermons, no talk of God or damnation. There's only the patient on the couch, whispering secrets they have never told another living soul, secrets of their dreams, their fantasies, their hidden shames. Freud listens. He is not a confessor, but a doctor, an archaeologist of the mind. He is not here to judge. He is here to excavate. And in the dirt of every buried memory, beneath the floorboards of every civilized mind, he finds the same artifacts, the same raw, powerful energy. He hears the same monster that tormented Tolstoy. But Freud doesn't see a demon. He sees an engine. He calls it the libido, the life force, the primal, relentless, biological drive to seek pleasure and avoid pain. In Freud's world, this is a spiritual poison. It's the fuel for everything you do, the ambition that drives you to build an empire, the creativity that inspires you to paint a masterpiece, and the desire that compels you to love. For Freud, civilization is a fragile negotiation, a tense agreement between your primal self, your ID, and the demands of society. Love, marriage, romance, these are the beautiful contracts we sign, the elegant rules we create to manage the chaotic energy that boils within us. But the energy is never destroyed. It is only repressed, pushed down into the dark. And Freud warns, what you push down does not go away. It festers. It mutates. It comes out sideways in neuroses and anxieties in dreams, or it explodes. So here they stand, two giants on opposite sides of century. Tolstoy, the confessor, on his knees, begging God for the strength to conquer his own nature. He screams, "We must kill the beast within." Freud, the doctor, sits calmly in his chair, listening to the beast's echoes. He advises, "You cannot kill it. You can only hope to understand it." This isn't just a historical debate. It is the blueprint of your own internal conflict. Every time you feel a pull of attraction, you know you shouldn't. That's Tolstoy's war. Every time you wonder why your long-term relationship has lost its spark, that's Freud's diagnosis. One path demands you become a saint, a warrior for spiritual purity. The other demands you become a scientist of your own soul, a detective of your own desires. Which path is right? And more importantly, which is survivable? Why does it fade? The grand, all-consuming fire that you call falling in love. Why does its heat so often cool into the cold ash of habit? Or worse, the bitter ice of resentment? You've seen it. Maybe you've lived it. The relationship that starts like a symphony and ends in a suffocating silence. Tolstoy would tell you it was poison from the start. He believed what we call romantic love is often just a beautiful lie, a poetic, socially acceptable mask that we force our raw, animal lust to wear. In his most controversial book, The Kreutzer Sonata, he writes that a man and woman are drawn together by this primal force. They dress it up in flowers and sonnets. They call it destiny. But once the physical act is complete, the mask falls off, the illusion shatters, and they are left looking at a stranger, chained together by a promise they no longer understand. Tolstoy says that what follows is not love, but a slow-burning hatred, a trap, a prison with two inmates. For him, the decay is a moral inevitability. The moment you let the beast lead the dance, the music is already over. Freud would watch the same decay, not with moral horror, but with a surgeon's clinical gaze. He would say the problem isn't poison. It's physics, the physics of the mind. He gave the warring parts of you names. Think of your soul as a courtroom. In one chair, pounding its fist on the table, is the ID, the beast, the child, the primal engine. It wants what it wants, and it wants it now. It screams for pleasure, for gratification, for release. It has no morality, no patience, no logic. In the other chair, draped in judgment, is the superego, the moralizer, the saint, the voice of society, your parents, your religion. It is Tolstoy's fortress of ideals. It whispers about purity, duty, love, honor, and shame. It tells you what you should want. And who are you? You are the one in the middle, the judge, the ego, trying desperately to broker a peace treaty between a feral animal and a punishing God. When you first fall in love, the ego achieves a miracle. The ID's raw desire for the other person aligns perfectly with the superego's ideal of finding the one. The beast and the saint are, for a moment, in perfect harmony. This is the honeymoon phase, the ecstasy. It feels like you finally found wholeness. But the ID cannot be satisfied with a beautiful idea forever. Its hunger is relentless. And the superego cannot tolerate the messy, selfish, animal reality of that hunger. So the battle begins again, this time inside the relationship. The ID gets bored. It seeks novelty. It chafes under routine. The superego is disappointed. It compares the flawed, real human being next to you with the perfect soulmate of its dreams. It demands a purity that no human can provide. And you, the ego, are torn apart. You feel guilty for your wandering thoughts. You feel resentful that your partner isn't the fantasy you signed up for. This is the anatomy of the broken promise. It's the moment you stop seeing a person and start seeing an object that no longer provides the pleasure it once did. It's the moment you stop seeing a soulmate and start seeing a list of flaws and obligations. The fire doesn't just go out. It is starved of oxygen by guilt. It is choked by the smoke of resentment. It is smothered by the weight of unspoken truths. Look around you at the billion-dollar industries built on this decay. Dating apps that promise endless novelty for the hungry ID fairy tale movies that sell impossible ideals to the starving superego. We are all caught in this machine. So you are left in the wreckage with a choice. Do you follow Tolstoy and declare war on your own desires? Try to achieve a love that is pure, perfect, and perhaps inhuman? Or do you follow Freud and attempt the dangerous task of negotiating with your inner monster, accepting a love that is flawed, complicated, and perhaps real? Because you must choose a war. The only alternative is to become a casualty. You have seen the battlefield. You have diagnosed a disease. The decay is not a maybe. It is a mathematical certainty if you do nothing. Doing nothing is a choice, and its name is surrender. The ghost in the machine will take over. The beautiful ballroom will become a ruin. So you must fight. But how? Tolstoy and Freud lay out two completely different strategies. Two different kinds of war. First, you can choose the path of the saint, the path of Leo Tolstoy. This is the ascent, the steep, rocky climb toward the sun. This is a war of transcendence. It demands that you look at the beast within you, your ravenous ID, and declare it your mortal enemy. You will give it no food, no quarter, no ground. This is the path of radical self-discipline. You starve your lust to feed your spirit. You turn away from the fleeting image of a beautiful body to focus on the eternal light of a beautiful soul. The weapons in this war are brutal. A strict moral code, as unbending as steel. Constant vigilance over your own thoughts. The choice, made every single day, to love your partner not for what they do for your body, but for what they are to your soul. It is a love of a monk for God, repurposed for a human. Tolstoy tried to live this. He renounced meat, alcohol, and wealth. He tried and failed, and tried again to achieve a state of pure, platonic love with his own wife. It is a war fought on your knees, a war of denial. The promise of this path, purity, a love that cannot be touched by time or age or boredom, a love that is safe from the chaotic hunger of the flesh, a transcendent connection. But the cost is a lifetime of struggle, a war against your own biology. You risk becoming brittle, judgmental, and disconnected from your own humanity. You risk breaking. Then there's the other war, the path of the doctor. The Path of Sigmund Freud. This is the descent, the careful, torchlit exploration of the cavern within. This is a war of integration. It demands that you look at the same beast, your ID, and instead of drawing a sword, you pull up a chair. You sit with it. You listen to it. You learn its language. This is the path of radical self-awareness. You don't deny your dark desires. You don't pretend your shadow doesn't exist. You admit to yourself that you are bored. You admit that you are tempted. You admit that part of you is a selfish, pleasure-seeking animal. You bring the monster out of the basement and into the light, not to kill it, but to understand it. The weapons in this war are psychological. Radical honesty with yourself, first and foremost. Then, if you are brave enough, honest communication with your partner. You learn to say, "This is what I'm feeling and it scares me." You learn to negotiate with your own nature, to channel its immense energy instead of just blocking it. You seek to understand the why behind your desires, not just condemn them. The promise of this path? Wholeness, an authentic love, built not on the fantasy of perfection, but on the acceptance of a messy, complicated reality. A partnership where two flawed human beings can talk about their shadows without fear. But this path, too, is filled with danger. In trying to understand the beast, you risk being eaten by it. In accepting your desires, you risk becoming a slave to them. This path can easily become an excuse for selfishness, for infidelity, for destroying the very love you are trying to save. It requires immense maturity and a deep commitment to not letting your inner truth destroy the person you are with. So look again at the two paths, the saint's ascent or the doctor's descent, transcendence or integration, self-denial or self-awareness. One path risks breaking your humanity. The other risks unleashing it. Both are a form of war. One is fought against yourself. The other is fought with yourself. Neither offers an easy peace. Which war are you willing to fight? Because the battle for love is not won by falling into it. It's won by choosing, every day, how you will fight for it. You have walked the high path of the saint and the dark path of the doctor. You have felt the torment of Tolstoy and the cold logic of Freud. And now you stand here, back where you started, in the ballroom of your own heart. The choice remains, ascent or descent. But what if this is the final illusion? What if the greatest trap was never the choice between the two paths, but the belief that you had to choose it all? The ultimate tragedy is not the existence of lust, and it's not our failure to achieve a perfect spiritual love. The ultimate tragedy is the lie, the exhausting, soul-crushing lie that love and lust are enemies. The societal conspiracy of silence that forces you to pretend your primal self doesn't exist within the sacred walls of a committed relationship. We have been trying to solve the wrong problem. We ask, how can I destroy my desires to achieve pure love? That is Tolstoy's war. We ask, how can I manage my desires to maintain a stable life? That is Freud's negotiation. The real question is, how can I build a love so strong, so authentic, that it is worthy of my desire's power? The Freudian truth is that the beast in your basement is not an invader. It is your home's furnace. You cannot rip it out without your house growing cold and dark. Its energy, its fire, is the very source of your passion, your creativity, your ambition, your life. To kill it is to die. The Tolstoyan truth is that a furnace with no direction will burn the entire house down. Fire without a purpose is just destruction. Passion without a higher meaning, without a spiritual center, eventually consumes itself and everything around it. It becomes a hollow addiction to sensation. The final verdict, then, is integration, a new kind of love, a love that does not require you to lie. It is a love brave enough to walk down into Freud's cavern, look the beast in the eye and say, I see you. I know what you want. You are a part of me. And then have the strength to lead that beast up Tolstoy's steep path, not in chains, but as a willing partner, and say, now, let us serve something greater than your hunger. This is a love where passion and purpose meet, where the body's raw. Honest desire becomes a fuel for the soul's highest aspiration. It is the beast, kneeling willingly before beauty it has chosen to protect, not devour. Look around the ballroom one last time. Now you can hear the music. You can see the elegant dancers moving with grace and intention. The dance of commitment, of shared dreams, of spiritual connection. But you can also feel floorboards thrumming with a deep, volcanic rhythm. The pulse of life, of primal energy, of untamed desire. The masterpiece is not one or the other. It is both together in perfect, terrifying harmony. To live this way requires the courage of a warrior and the wisdom of a psychologist. It is the hardest path of all, but it is the only one that is not a lie. This is the challenge we leave you with. This is the Legend's legacy standard. Not to give you the answers, but to dare you to live the questions, to build a life and a love strong enough to hold the two warring truths of your own nature. So we leave you with the final words of the two titans, letting their eternal debate echo in your mind. Leo Tolstoy writes, "The animal man is the nightmare. It must be crushed." Sigmund Freud replies, "The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained hearing." The nightmare or the voice? The war or the work? Which path will you choose to live? Let us know in the comments which thinker's truth resonates more with you, the saint or the scientist. Your story matters here. If this journey challenged you, if it forced you to look at the ghosts in your own machine, then subscribe and join this community. We go to the difficult places. We ask the dangerous questions. Together, we are building a legacy of wisdom,